It's crazy, the look in doctors' and nurses' eyes when they came and seen me. I felt like a newborn baby or a puppy or something.
The scene of the celebration, St. Mary's Hospital at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota.
A lot of good things, I think, happened while he was in the hospital. He really became part of the fabric and the family up on Fort Domitilla with the nurses and with the staff.
Oh, great guy.
Fort Domitilla is the organ transplant floor. Randy Marlow is finally being discharged after being here a very long time.
I came up there, they put me in the hospital, and they didn't let me leave for 596 days.
That's a terribly long time in the hospital.
I call it being in jail with the nicest guards ever.
We got to know him very well in that time.
Randy's medical journey began as a young man with the discovery of a congenital heart defect.
Yes, I found out that I had a atrial septal defect, which is a hole in the heart.
4 open heart surgeries would follow over the years. Despite that, Randy worked hard as a successful heating and air conditioning technician and was an avid outdoorsman. He thrived in the beautiful high country of Colorado.
Backcountry snowmobiling up in the Colorado Rockies, playing ice hockey, ride my ATV, and go camping up in the mountains.
Now, big one in. Blow, 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 blow.
But by his early 40s, Randy's condition progressed to heart failure.
Breathe in and relax.
And he was starting to exhaust his medical therapy options. He wasn't doing well.
Dr. Barry Boylston is Randy's cardiologist. He says eventually Randy's last hope was a heart transplant. Unfortunately, Randy had a less common blood group, and blood transfusions during earlier surgeries had created high levels of antibodies to most donor tissues.
When patients do, then that presents a problem because those patients are much more likely to reject the heart immediately once it's implanted.
Of the donors that come up, he might only be able to take 10 or 20% of the potential donors, which makes it very difficult for him.
So all of those factors really prolonged his waiting time. He also needed 2 organs, not 1.
2 organs because severe fluid buildup from Randy's heart condition had caused his liver to begin to fail as well. But that turned out to be a blessing in disguise if Randy's new liver could be transplanted first.
Based on the observation in other solid organ transplant groups that the liver has this unique capacity to mop up these preformed antibodies.
But because the donor heart can only wait outside the body for a limited time, transplant surgeon Richard Daly says minutes count and careful coordination of each step is vital.
Have to manage that particular situation very carefully in terms of the choreography of the surgery.
For heart transplants, at least, it's an experience that's unique to Mayo.
Once Randy's transplant team had a plan, he was admitted to Fort Domitilla. There, IV medications could support his failing organs, and he could be monitored.
You know, you have to be careful with your fluid intake and with your diet, and you have to exercise regularly, and all the things that need to be done, and you need to encourage someone to do that.
There's the medical aspect for sure, but the psychological aspect is almost the more pressing, in my mind, as these patients wait.
I called it Groundhog Day. Every day you wake up and it's the same thing, again and again and again.
Not knowing if suitable organs would ever become available, Randy launched into his quest with one simple thought.
Patience, you have to take it day by day and wait for that right day, for the miracle.
Randy's girlfriend Lisa visited as often as possible.
I did surprise Lisa on one of her visits. The nurses helped me out there, and they took a conference room and turned it into a little dining room. Put lights all around the room and got some flowers, and the chef prepared us steak dinner.
The nursing staff did everything it could to keep the hospital walls from closing in.
I got to go to the power plant. Being a heating and air conditioning guy, I wanted to see what runs this place. You know, what kind of equipment does it take to run St. Mary's? So I got a personal tour of that, and they said I was the first person to ever ask for that one.
And yeah, he played a lot of jokes. Yeah, some things I probably can't say on the camera.
Brandon Grovedahl was one of several nurses with whom Randy forged friendships.
I think almost every day from 4 to 5, I was probably in Randy's room, just listening to his issues. He listened to my issues. You know, it kind of created a bond that way.
I spent 1 year and 8 months with these people. You know, yes, they became, you know, my second family.
So, just like home, if Randy got a craving for something,
I said, boy, a Philly cheesesteak would be good. So he went shopping and got me, you know, the true thin sliced ribeye. I made Philly cheesesteaks. The staff, they were awesome. They just made my days go easier.
that was part of taking care of the transplant patients that is really rewarding, and it's something that they need as well.
Actually, one nurse did my Christmas shopping for 2 years. I would give her a list and she would go get it.
Holidays and entire seasons passed, and finally, on Randy's 575th day in the hospital, his turn arrived.
And it worked incredibly well. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more gratifying, you know, there really isn't.
Congratulations, Randy.
Everybody has an emotional commitment and tie to somebody that's in the hospital that long.
After 3 more weeks to recover and a few weeks at the Gift of Life Transplant House to transition back to life outside the hospital, Randy was ready to hit the road with an appreciation that will last a lifetime.
I don't know, it's a miracle. I would not be here, you know, if it wasn't for Mayo and the nurses, and it's good to be alive and feeling good.
For the Mayo Clinic News Network, I'm Dennis Douda.